Hi, and welcome to the Valley Wrap. Great to be with you again this morning, and great to be sharing. We've got a special guest today. We have Amy Isham. Hi, Amy.
Hi, Richard. How are you?
Good, thank you. Today we're going to be talking a bit about mental health, and obviously it's an issue as we think about COVID-19, as we think about how we respond as a community. And Amy's had a lifelong interest in this area of mental health through her family. And we'll hear a bit more about that in a moment. And also, she's married to the new Presi minister at St Kilda, and they just moved to St Kilda just before this COVID-19 thing happened, which is kind of a little awkward trying to meet your congregation. Yeah, how's it all going in St Kilda, Amy? Are you enjoying living there?
Yeah, I love it here. It's beautiful. I love the cooler weather because I've been out in the hot country out west. So it's really nice. People are friendly. We're getting to know the neighbours a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good lemon tree. That's a good way in.
Ah, lovely. And what's it like trying to meet your congregation when you're not supposed to be entering their home and all that sort of thing?
Yeah, it's challenging. I have visited one lady and she calls me quite often now, which is lovely, just for a couple of minutes. But I've dropped off some food at her house. And because she's a very independent lady, she was mortified that I was trying to give her food. So I was, oh, it's just a pretense to be able to visit you, and she was okay with that.
Yeah, yeah, great.
Mm.
Yeah, and Amy, you've had an interest in mental health for a number of years. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, so I grew up in a family. My dad was working in mental health. He's always been in some kind of public area. So he's an ombudsman now, but he worked with people in homes. So I remember him taking me along to one of those homes and meeting some people that I didn't even know they had mental health issues, but Dad had seen them on their bad days. And Dad being in the paper with talking about stigma and mental health, and my own family having a lot of mental health issues, like my aunt, she had schizophrenia, and I remember hearing lots of angry answering machine messages, but that how my family normalized it. It was, there's nothing to be frightened of. It was, this is what people are like when they're not well, and yeah, so it's always been there. It's always been something that was part of my life.
And sometimes we're not sure how to care for people in our congregations or in the community who are struggling with mental health because sometimes we just don't understand it, or maybe we're a bit fearful or not sure how to respond. What are some of the things that you've brought to that helps you care for people and in your experience?
Well, I've been really blessed with knowing a lot of people that have very strong faith despite their mental health issues, and they've been in a mental hospital, or they've had a severe psychotic break where they've just um, seen visions and been suicidal or whatever, and I've just been able to see them come out the other side, and I've learned from them and their faith and their ability to admit their struggles and how much they love to help and be a blessing to others, and not wanting to be that kind of burden, that dependent sort of person.
Yeah, yeah. And you're telling me about a verse from the Bible before that it's kind of helped you think a bit about this.
Yeah, so Genesis 1:26, where people are made in the image of God. So while I grew up with this normality of, oh yeah, there's a person with mental health issues, they're a person too, they're interesting. But now I came to this view that not only did God make people in his image, he made them, even when we're past the curse and there are problems with the way our brains work or our emotions work, they're very valuable to God. And I've seen them not just because they're made in the image of God, but because they're redeemed and now they live this Christian life with these scars and troubles.
Yeah. How about we just I'll just read that verse from Genesis, where it says, verse 27. So God created mankind in His own image. In the image of God, He created them, male and female. He created them. And so, it just reminds us, doesn't it, that because we're made in God's image, we have value because of that. And regardless of people's health status or their wealth or their racial background or whatever it might be, people matter because they bear the image of the living God. And so they're worthy of our care and love and respect and so on. And so, and so that's something you've brought with you as you move into interacting with people struggling with that area.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess the other thing is that we can also over spiritualize mental health. We can think of it as, oh no, what should they be praying more? Or is there a problem here? Is there something wrong going on? And I think we've got to go, well, it's a physiological thing. It's something. It could be genetic. It could be trauma based. We've got to remember it's a real condition, and that it can be treated like a whole bunch of other physical conditions and physiological conditions. So we can be part of helping them seek professional help rather than feeling that burden to, oh, I've got to fix all this for them. So I think that's also very comforting, is that
Yeah.
it's genuine illness. Yeah.
Yeah, one of many areas where we're fallen and creation is groaning with a longing for the redemption when Christ returns, and it's part of one of the things that of many things we all have things we have to deal with, and some people deal with this one. And yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Amy, that's been really helpful introduction. We'll hear some more from you next week, but how about I pray and we'll finish there. Father in heaven, we thank you that you've put into our lives all kinds of people in different situations. And Lord, as we think about our friends and neighbours, members of our church who are struggling with mental health, Lord, I pray that we'd remember they're made in your image, that they're valuable to you, and that we should care for them and love them. That this is a physiological thing that we can help them with, and there are ways that we can care for them. So Lord, I pray that we would keep them in our prayers and think through how we can be of support to those folk in our knowledge who are struggling in this area. We pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Thanks, Amy. We'll see you next week.
Yeah, my pleasure. See ya.
Bye.